3 months ago, when we published Martin's story, one comment among thousands caught my attention. Sarah Miller had written, "Could this man be my father? He disappeared in 1983. Same facial features." When I first read that comment, I thought it was just another hopeful viewer. But then I looked at Sarah's profile picture, and I froze. Martin's eyes were identical to Sarah's eyes. That day, I realized our channel wasn't just telling stories. It could actually change real lives. Welcome to the Human Stories. Today I'm going to tell you a very different story. This isn't just a story. It's a real-life miracle that happened, and perhaps the most important moment in our channel's history. Don't forget to mention what city you're watching from in the comments, because this story shows just how powerful your comments can be. Let me start from the beginning. 3 months ago, we published The Quiet Old Man at the Shooting Range. Martin, an elderly veteran, was recognized when a young SEAL recruit noticed his tattoo. That video was very well received. 2.3 million views, 45,000 likes, thousands of comments. As always, I was reading through the comments. Most were typical, "Amazing story," I cried. My dad was a veteran too. But one comment was different, written by someone with the username Sarah Miller. "Could this man be my father? He disappeared in 1983. Same facial features, same posture. My mom always said he died, but I never believed it. Please, do you know Martin's real name?" When I first read it, I smiled. YouTube has plenty of comments like this. People think they recognize characters in videos, make connections. But I was curious and clicked on Sarah's profile. The moment I saw her profile picture, I froze. Sarah Miller was a woman in her mid-40s with brown hair, but her eyes, those eyes were identical to Martin's eyes. Same shape, same depth, same expression. It couldn't be a coincidence. I immediately replied to her comment. "Sarah, could you send me a private message? We have things to discuss." 2 hours later, the message arrived. Long, detailed, heartbreaking. "Hello, I'm Sarah Miller. I live in Boston. I'm 45 years old and I've been searching for my father for 40 years. His name was James Miller. In 1983, when I was 5 years old, he left the house one morning, said, 'business trip,' and never came back. A month later, Mom said he died, but there was no funeral, no grave, no proof. As I grew up, the questions multiplied. What did my father do for work? Why did he leave suddenly? Why were no letters ever sent? Mom would get upset by these questions and cry. When I turned 18, I started investigating. Military records, old friends, everything. But James Miller is such a common name. Hundreds of matches came up. None of them were my father. 40 years passed. I got married, had children, but my father was always on my mind. And last night I watched your video. That man called Martin. He's identical to my father's last photo. This can't be a coincidence." At the end of the message, she had sent her father's last photo from 1982. When I looked at that photo, my breath caught. I placed the young man from the 40-year-old photo next to a screenshot of Martin from our video. Aside from the age difference, they were almost identical. Nose, chin, ear shape, hand structure, posture, but most of all, the eyes. That deep melancholy but strong gaze. It was the same in both Martin and young James. I immediately wrote back to Sarah. "Sarah, can we talk on the phone? It's very important." That night at 10 p.m., I called Sarah. When she answered, it was clear she was excited but anxious. "Hello, Sarah. I'm the channel's editor. First, I want to mention the stories in our videos are fictional, not real. But your situation is different." Sarah's voice trembled. "What do you mean?" "I examined the photo you sent. The resemblance is really very strong. But Sarah, if this really turns out to be your father, are you ready? Ready to meet after 40 years? There was silence on the phone. Then Sarah started crying. "I've been imagining this moment for 40 years. Of course I'm ready, but what if it's not him? What if my hopes are crushed again? Is it worth the risk?" Yes, absolutely yes. The next day, I began deeper research. The information Sarah provided had surprising similarities to Martin's story. Both had military backgrounds. Both disappeared in 1983. Both had similar tattoo marks on their arms. Both had quiet, introverted personalities. But the most important clue came from elsewhere. In the messages Sarah sent, she mentioned her father was in special assignments, that her mother said it was government work, without giving details. Martin's story had similar details. That evening, I wrote to Sarah again. Sarah, what military unit was your father in? I don't know exactly, but my mother once said, at sea. Maybe Navy? My heart rate accelerated. Martin's story also had details related to the sea. 3 days later, I received a shocking message from Sarah. I was going through my mother's old belongings. I found a letter from my father, from 1983, just before he disappeared. I was shocked when I read it. She sent a photo of the letter. It was handwritten. Dear Margaret, if you're reading this letter, I no longer exist. Tell Sarah that her father loved her very much. Everything I did was for her safety. One day when she grows up, she'll understand. I am no longer James Miller. I must become someone else. To protect you, with love, forever, James. When I read that letter, everything became clear. James Miller had changed his identity in 1983. Secret operation, witness protection, deep cover. For whatever reason, James Miller had died and become someone else. And that someone else could be Martin. I immediately wrote to Sarah, Sarah, we're on to something. But first I need to talk to Martin. This was the hardest part. How would I find Martin? Our stories were fictional, but in this case, I needed a real person. That night, I thought for hours, and then it occurred to me, if this story is real, if there really are missing families, maybe I can help. The next day, I published a special video. Just 10 minutes, explanatory. Dear viewers, I received a message from a woman named Sarah Miller who watched Martin's story. She's been searching for her father for 40 years and thinks Martin might be him. This is a serious situation. If Martin is a real person, or if anyone is in a similar situation, please contact us. The video passed 500,000 views in 6 hours. The comments were surprising. My uncle also disappeared in the 1980s. Is this real or a channel strategy? Martin isn't real. It's a fictional story. What if it's real? What if a family really reunites? But the most important comment came in the 8th hour. I am Martin. My real name is James Miller. I've been missing my daughter for 40 years. When I read that comment, I dropped my phone. Profile name, JM, 1943. The account was old, open since 2019, but never commented before, only watched veteran videos. I immediately sent a private message. Mr. James, can I connect you with Sarah Miller? The response came immediately. Are you sure Sarah is safe? She might still be in danger. What danger are you talking about? You don't know why I left in 1983. Some people are still alive. Some secrets are still protected. Reading those messages, I understood the truth. James Miller hadn't just disappeared. He had been hiding, hidden for 40 years. Mr. James, Sarah misses you very much. She's been searching for 40 years. You can meet safely. 2 days of silence. Then, okay, but I want to write Sarah a letter first. I have 40 years of explaining to do. That letter was 3 pages long. James explained that in 1983 he had participated in a special operation, had to sacrifice his identity, and started living as Martin to protect his family. My hardest decision, he wrote, was leaving my daughter, but I had no other choice to protect her. I thought about her every day. I remembered her voice every night. I forwarded the letter to Sarah. Sarah's crying on the phone had been going on for an hour. He really is my father. The handwriting of the letter, the words he used, everything I remember is the same. After 40 years, my father is alive. The meeting was arranged in New York, at a neutral cafe. I went with a camera too, with their permission, of course. I'll never forget that day. Sarah was sitting in the cafe, constantly looking at the door. Her hands were shaking. What if he doesn't remember me? What if he's disappointed? Sarah, he's been missing you for 40 years. There won't be any disappointment. At exactly 3 p.m., the door opened. An elderly man entered. His hair had turned white. His face was wrinkled, but his eyes, those eyes were Sarah's eyes. Sarah stood up. The man saw her. Both froze in place. Then Sarah whispered, "Dad?" The man approached, his eyes filled with tears. "My little girl." And after 40 years, father and daughter embraced. I captured that moment on camera. How many times in life do you get the chance to capture such moments? They talked for 3 hours at the cafe. 40 years of longing, explanations, anger, love, everything. James explained why he left. Secret mission, enemy agents, threatened family, like a Hollywood movie. But it was real. I thought about you every day, he told Sarah. Growing up, going to school, graduating, I missed it all. But it was necessary to keep you safe. Sarah was crying. I always felt you were alive too. Even though Mom said you were dead, I knew in my heart you were alive. That day, both our lives changed. Sarah had reached the end of her 40-year search. James could emerge from his hidden identity and be a real father again. And me, I learned how a YouTube channel can actually change real lives. After the meeting, James told me, "If you hadn't published that Martin story, Sarah would never have found me. Your channel created a miracle." After the video was published, incredible responses came. I watched it crying. Things like this really happen. This channel isn't just telling stories, it's saving lives. I also have a missing uncle I'm starting to research. But most importantly, more families reunited. After the video went viral, more than 50 people wrote, "I also have missing family." And incredibly, 8 more families reunited. 3 months later, Sarah sent me an update. I meet with my father every week. We're telling 40 years of stories. He's no longer hiding. I'm no longer searching. We're both finally at peace. This was possible because I wrote that comment that day, and you took it seriously. This story taught me this. No comment is small. No message is unimportant. Sometimes the most ordinary-looking thing starts the greatest miracle. The reason I'm telling this story today is this. Your comments are powerful. Your shares change lives. Maybe you're also searching for someone missing. Maybe the comment you write will enable another family's reunion. So please, share your stories in the comments. Who are you looking for? Who do you miss? Who knows? Maybe they're looking for you too. And if this story touched you, subscribe. Because sometimes we don't just tell stories. Sometimes we create real miracles. Sarah and James's story shows the power of YouTube. A comment, a video, a channel can change lives, reunite families, make miracles possible. Maybe your comment will start the next miracle. We're waiting for you in the comments. Write what city you're watching from, what stories you've lived, who you're searching for, because this channel is no longer just ours. It belongs to all of us, and together we're creating real miracles. See you in the next story. And remember, every comment matters, every share is powerful, every story is valuable. Welcome to the Human Stories family.